Everyone's heard about the Ninja Dual Zone air fryer by now, but what about this one? Today I'm going to be reviewing and talking about the Ninja Foodi Max multi-cooker. I'm going to be running you through some things that I love about it, some things that aren't so good about it, and is there space in your kitchen for both the Ninja Dual Zone air fryer and this one? Well, if you want to hear, then keep on watching. Hello for everyone who's new around here, my name is Grace and I make lots of content on this channel all about motherhood, so if you like that kind of thing then hopefully you'll enjoy my review on the Ninja Foodi Max multi-cooker. I've been meaning to film this review for a long time now, and yes, I do own both products and I'm going to be telling you whether I think you need both, all that kind of stuff after I've reviewed the product. Here's a little spoiler for you, I think it is a fantastic kitchen appliance, but yeah, stay tuned for my full breakdown of all the pros and cons. Let's get into it straight away, and if you want to hear, if you need both, then you've got to stick around to the end. What is the Ninja Foodi Max multi-cooker? Well, let me tell you, what isn't this? Honestly, this thing here will do everything for you. It is a pressure cooker, it steams, it's a slow cooker, it can make yogurt, it sears, sautés, it's an air fryer, it can grill, bake, roast, and it can dehydrate. So this thing here, I'm telling you, it does everything. And that is just one of the fantastic things about this. The variety that you can cook in here is, I think the sky is the limit with this one, because you can use it as a slow cooker. And one major difference between the dual zone air fryer and this one is that you can put liquid in here if you want to. Obviously for the slow cooker, the pressure cooker, other things, you can liquid goes in here, whereas in the air fryer, you don't want to be putting liquid in that. So this is just going to cook so much for you, and that is one brilliant thing that I love about all the Ninja products, is the variety that it's capable of doing is unreal. So I'm going to just quickly tell you some of my favourite features on this. I personally really enjoy the pressure cooker, which I surprised myself. I didn't think I would be liking that so much, but I use the pressure cooker function quite a lot. I really rate the pressure cooker on this. I also use the bake and roast, and obviously I will use the air crisp, which is air fryer. But they are personally some of my preferred functions on this. And I also really like the fact that you can saute on this, because if you're going to use the slow cooker, which I also do, I just generally prefer the flavour of slow cooked things if you've sauteed or browned the meat and stuff, or browned the onion, like sauteed some onions to just, I think it just gives a better flavour. That's my personal preference. So I really like the fact that you can saute on this. Another amazing thing about this is the speed in which it cooks stuff is unbelievable. If you use the pressure cooker function, which I know it might seem a little bit daunting, and I'm shocked at how much I use it. Now I've got the confidence to, I use it a hell of a lot. But this pressure cooking thing here, it cooks food so bloody quickly. I'm gobsmacked. So I make like some things that I think really are like you can cook very quickly in this. Lentils, I find lentils when you cook them on the stove really time consuming. There's a lot of stirring involved, I personally find, and I just think they're quite a tedious thing to cook on the stove. You can pressure cook some lentils in like 3 or 4 minutes on this thing and they are perfect. I will always saute an onion and cook my lentils. If you know your ratios, which does take a bit of time, which I'll go on to talk about later, like getting used to it, the pressure cooker on this thing is so good. I also personally like to make mashed potato in here. I can make mash in a couple of minutes if you put boiling water in. Once you get used to it, the pressure cooker is super fast, and it also tenderizes meat perfectly. This has made so many tender meals, the pressure cooker. Slow cooker will do the same, but obviously it's over a longer period of time, but the pressure cooker also tenderizes meat beautifully, and I love it. I really rate the pressure cooker function on this, if you can't tell already. And because it's so quick and the quality of the food that it brings out is amazing every single time. Once you get used to it, I'm not saying the first time you do it, it's going to be amazing. I know that Ninja products aren't cheap, they are quite pricey, but I think that overall, because of the amount of functions that this has, that in itself is just worth its money, I think, because this just does so much, as I mentioned at the start. The fact that you can have all these functions in one thing is just so brilliant. This is basically your stove, your oven, you know, everything. This could be your kitchen. If you were having a renovation, you'd only need this and maybe like, I don't know, maybe an air fryer if you're a really big family. I feel as though if you're like a couple, this would be your kitchen essentially. This could do so much. It's also got like a keep warm function on it. This is just, honestly, it's magic. If you can't tell already, I think it is fantastic. So yeah, the amount of functions that you've got on this, if you're having renovation and you don't have a kitchen, this could be your kitchen basically. It's so clever. Tapping onto what I just said, I would say that the size of this is perfect if you're a family. This is the 7.5 litre, so it's huge. I can cook like a whole large chicken, definitely with ease cook a large chicken. I feel as though I would cook an extra large chicken. So it cooks large joints of meat in here, and obviously the 7.5 litre, it's got capacity to make like a big stew or something in winter. So it's a really good size if you're a family. If you're like a medium-sized family, this is going to be the right size for you. Again, if you're a couple, it might not be, you might not need one so big, but because it's got such a big capacity, it will feed your family, and I think that's obviously a really good thing about a product. If you're a large family or if you're a family, this is going to be perfect for you. The winning feature about this multi-cooker is that it's super easy to clean. I believe that this part is dishwasher proof, but the actual inside of it, this bit here, the pot, I'm going to call it the pot. I think it's called the pot, I'm not sure, but that's what I'm going to call it. It's really, really easy to clean, and it never like sticks to the bottom. It's also got measuring things, so if you are using liquid, you could use that as a bit of a reference. I personally like to use a jug so I know that I'm pouring in the right amount, because I wouldn't want to put too much and then you've got to take it away. But if you didn't have a jug on you and you were being lazy, it has got like the litre, 2 litre, 3 litre, 4 litre inside that, so that's really handy, but it's so easy to clean. Literally a little dishmatic, bit of dish soap, always cleans really quickly and easily, which I love. I think that's always a really good feature about products if they're not too arduous to clean, especially if you're a family, as I mentioned before. But anyone who wants to be cleaning, you know, for ages. But I believe this part is dishwasher safe, so that's really good too. That's the basket for the air fryer. And then you want to just wipe over the top of the like grill lid. Another thing that I thought would be worth mentioning while I'm talking about the things that I like about this is that the little booklet here, the multi-cooker, I'm just going to call it a guide. It's got recipes in it, but it also has instructions. Is really handy, especially when you're first starting out. This is a good reference. I recommend using it. It's got a chart, especially if you're going to try the pressure cooker. It's got ingredients, the amount, the water that you need, and how long you cook it for and stuff like that. So I always find that these are quite a good reference, especially when you're starting out. Once you get used to using it a little bit more, you kind of find your own rhythm. But it recommends, if you use the pressure cooker, to boil, like pressure cook just some water to start off with. And I would say if you are going to pressure cook, which you definitely should, you should not be afraid of it, is to use like boiling or hot water, like use some hot water, like boil some water in a jug and then just leave it so that it's still really quite hot, and it will make the pressure cooker work even quicker. This is the separate lid for the pressure cooker. I haven't mentioned this yet. So this goes on here. If you're going to be, and you also have to use that for the slow cooker too. But yeah, the guide is really good. And then, as I say, once you've got your own rhythm with it, I even make my own notes on it. So as you can see here, I've just kind of like written down in sections here like what I've done. So I'll like change some bits, or I just add my own notes to it. So it's a really good thing to keep. It's also got recipes in it. I haven't tried any of the recipes in this, but I have for the air fryer. So if you're new to it, definitely check out the guide, because it will give you a little bit of a confidence boost, and it is just a little reference while you're starting out. So that is quite handy to have. And there's a lot of effort that's gone into that, I think, and I really think that that's quite a good feature when you're new to using it, especially, you know, if you've never pressure cooked before. It's just a good little guide, so I thought I would mention that for you. Okay, so on to some things that are not quite so good about it, or they might be negatives for other people. I'm just going to kind of try and make this as unbiased as possible. Is that I think that the size of it could be a negative thing for people with like limited space, or if you just don't want something so big and cumbersome on your worktop. It is large, you know, and you have got to have a space for it in your kitchen. So if space is an issue, I think I mentioned that with the other Ninja dual zone air fryer, you know, it might not be for you. But because of what it does, I think it's totally worth it. I've just got a nice little corner for mine. But if you haven't got so much space in your kitchen, that is something to consider. And again, with your pressure cooker, I know that I keep talking about the pressure cooker. You know what function that I use the most, don't you, right? Is that when you open the vent, because obviously you have to seal it. I'll show you the lid in a sec. When it's pressure cooking to keep all of the air in. And then you once you've cooked your whatever and it's ready to be released, you put it onto vent, it will steam out lots of hot air. So you probably do want to have this unit near a window so you can kind of just like, I usually just like blow the air out the window or like flap it with a tea towel or something. Yeah, it is a big thing, but again, this is also a good thing about it because it can fit so much food in it. So, you know, it depends on your situation, doesn't it? If you're a family and you want lots of food in it, that is going to be a good thing. If space is an issue, it might not be such a good thing. But, you know, I'm just giving you a kind of like well-balanced picture of it. Right, another thing that I think could be better about this product is that it has got quite a short lead for the appliance. And when I cut the tag off it, it said do not use with extension leads. I actually use my Ninja Dual Zone air fryer with an extension lead. This says don't use it with an extension lead. So again, if you're trying to put it in a practical place, the lead isn't very long and it says don't use it with an extension. So I'm really lucky that I've got a plug socket right by my kitchen window and I've also got the space here. But you haven't got to have it near a window, but I would recommend as well because air does come out of these products. So you do need a little bit of space on your worktop so that it's not like clamming up your tiles and making them all hot and sweaty. All things to consider, you know. So the short lead could be better. Like they should give you a little bit more of a lead, I think, because, you know, not everyone's kitchen is going to have plug sockets near a window or, you know, just for the space. I think it could just have a little bit of a longer lead. Okay, one of the biggest binds that I found at the start was that the pressure cooker, slow cooker lid, this is the separate lid, you have to use this because it seals, it's got a seal and a vent feature. So you use the vent when you're slow cooking, you use the seal when you're pressure cooking. To begin with, this was really cumbersome, quite fiddly to get used to. I feel as though I think it's worn into its kind of natural, it's a lot easier now. I think where I've used it so much, it's either just settled, but it was very fiddly to get used to. My mum has got this. This is the reason that I've got this product. She raved about it so much. She never had that with her lid, but she knew what I meant when she tried the lid on this. So obviously you've got to line it up in the right place. And to begin with, it wasn't sitting very well, and it would take me a couple of minutes to lock it in. And that was kind of a bit frustrating. Totally worth it now, I've got used to it, but it was quite fiddly at the start, getting the hang of locking it into place without jarring it and doing it wrong. That just took a bit of time to get used to, but I feel as though that is part and parcel of having a new appliance. You do have to get to grips with things. And I think that it has just settled into its natural, you know, maybe it was just a bit tight, or the lid was a bit cumbersome to begin with. So I thought I would mention that if you're experiencing it, stick with it, it will get better. Also, just quickly, another thing that might be a negative thing is that you do then also have to store this lid somewhere else. So again, going back to space, if you haven't got as much of that, this then needs to be stored because you can't, I mean, you could store it, I guess you could leave it like that, you know, on top and then leave that up, but you've got to have quite a bit of space to do that. But so I just keep this separately in a drawer, which obviously if you haven't got as much kitchen space, you've got to consider that too. Another little nitpicky thing, but that might have been me when I haven't used the slow cooker for a little while because we are in summer, so I feel as though I would definitely use that feature a lot more come autumn and winter, is that I found that the slow cooker dripped a little bit to start off with, but that may have been me in the new phases of using it, not getting something quite right. But I did find a few times that the slow cooker dripped, and this little tray at the back was quite full with water each time. It was probably just me getting the hang of the machine, and I don't really use slow cookers very much, so I'm quite new to them, but I thought I would just mention that as well. And I think that a bit of a negative and a downfall of this is that because there's got so much to it, and has got a lot going for it, It can be a little bit trial and error the first few times that you use it. I think the first time I used the pressure cooker, I didn't put enough liquid in when I made lentils. They didn't come out very well. But again, I think that is just to be expected with any new kitchen appliance. It takes you a little bit of time to finally get into your own groove of using things. And especially with things like a pressure cooker. I was speaking to one of my friends and she's got it and she was really didn't want to use the pressure cooker. So it can be a little bit daunting. That is part and parcel of a new kitchen appliance, especially one that does so much. It's all singing, all dancing like this one. It can take a bit of getting used to. But once you've got used to it, and you have to just keep ploughing through, like don't let, if something doesn't work the first time in here, don't let that put you off. You've got to keep trying. So yeah, I would say that it can take a bit of time because this does a hell of a lot to get used to, but overlook that and make it be part of the process of learning the machine. And I think another thing that could be really helpful when you're using it is use the little guidebook. And if something's gone wrong, like make a note of maybe what you've done, or like add more water next time, or you know, if you think you know what's gone wrong. It's usually with the pressure cooker, it's like a water issue if you've not put enough in. It is just confidence in using everything. You've got to be a little bit of a certain type of person. And I am surprised at how much I use the kind of pressure cooker feature, but honestly, it's so good. If you can't tell already, I love the pressure cooker part of this. It tenderises the meat and it just does so much. So if you want to hear how I use this, if it's inspired you to kind of see, I will include all cutaways while I'm talking of what I use this for, and as you might have heard as I've been speaking, but if you want like an actual breakdown of how I do it, and please leave me a comment, I will happily do that. But yeah, that is basically all of my pros and cons. I think that I've made all of the list of cons just to make this a well-balanced review for everyone else. They are about all I could find. Overall, I think this is fantastic and it's well worth having in your kitchen. So the big question is, do you need both? Do you need the Ninja Dual Zone air fryer and the multi-cooker? Then my honest opinion is yes, I use both. My oven is practically redundant now. I do not rarely use my oven unless it's like for a really big pizza. It's got dust on it, let's face it. I use this and my Ninja Dual Zone regularly. I would still say if someone had to ask me if I had to pick, I think for my family, because I've got 2 young children, I still think just, if you had to pick one, I think I would just say the Dual Zone air fryer because I reach for that more because of the 2 drawers. But then on saying that, I also use this at the same time. I have both appliances going at once. They're meant to be more cost effective because you're still using, you're cooking for a shorter amount of time, and also I think that using gas is more expensive than electric, so it should be kind of like more cost effective using these Ninja items. But I just use them because they're brilliant. They make my life really easy. The quality of the food is always amazing, and I am extra. I would say get both if you love cooking and you want to make, you know, if you're feeling a little bit uninspired, then these kind of things in your kitchen just make your life so much easier, and the food it produces is outstanding. Honestly, I really cannot recommend the Ninja products enough. And if you can afford both, if you've got space for both, you definitely need both. Definitely, because this just does so much more than the air fryer. Like if I had to pick, like it would be hard to pick, but because I know that I use the Dual Zone more, I'd probably pick that. But I would really miss this, like severely, like just for the pressure cooker. As you know, I've been talking about that a lot. I think I would really miss this, and I use it as much, nearly as much as my Ninja Dual Zone air fryer. So yeah, I thought I would review this for you because it's been a long time coming. I've actually been using this for 6 months, so I'm quite well equipped, like I would know it really well now. And I love both of my Ninja, my air fryer and my multi-cooker. They're both fantastic, and yeah, I really hope you've enjoyed this review, and I've tried to keep it nice and well balanced for you. But my overall opinion of it is that it is bloody fantastic, and I'm really pleased I've got it in my kitchen. And again, I would look out for it on like sales, Black Friday, that kind of thing, because they are reduced. So if you've got your eye on it, like wait for sales or just keep looking. I find the prices on things change all the time. Like I bought it when it was a little bit cheaper. Sometimes this can be $2.70, and then it can also then be $2.50. I I reckon it'll be even cheaper, like come Black Friday down the line. So yeah, that would be my tip. Like just watch the price of things for a while. They always change. But because of the amount that I use these, it's well worth the money for me. If you're not going to use them, then it's probably not worth getting. But because this does so much, you are going to use it, trust me. So yeah, thank you for watching. And as I say, if you want to hear how I use it in a little bit more details, drop me a comment and I will do that for you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.